Hey everybody, welcome to week 5 of our English 30/20 online course. It's a cold one. I hope everyone's staying nice and cozy this week, and I hope that you don't have to do too much driving in the snow. For our work this week, I'm going to talk through our weekly overview because you'll notice that there is something a little different about how the assignments flow this week. And I want to talk through some of the readings that we do have and what you might be able to do with them in terms of Project 2. So I'm just going to switch right over to our Canvas view and we'll get right to it. Okay, so here we are in week 5. And one of the first things that you might notice is that there is no reading discussion this week. And that is because, well, there's a couple of reasons for it, but the first reason is because the readings that we have are simply genre samples that are pieces that St. Vincent Sarah Fisher actually uses in some of their work. And we're going to talk about why we're going to be looking at those in a minute, but that's something that you should definitely hopefully feel a little bit relief about, is that we have a little bit of a lighter week in terms of reading and no reading discussion. And in terms of watching, you'll just watch this week's video, which you're already doing. High five. We'll look at those genre samples in a second. And then in terms of writing, just write your Reflection Journal 5, continue with annotating and doing your rhetorical analysis work on your genre samples from the St. Vincent Sarah Fisher genres that you have chosen from their digital or public, or as we'll see today, maybe more use value writing pieces. And the reason that I wanted to give you this week also was so that you could have some time to really thoughtfully compose the visual aids for your rhetorical analysis presentation, which is the final piece that you're composing for Project 2. So consider this week the week to get some of that composing work done, both the visual compositions and thinking through the analysis continued. So the week will kind of look like this. You want to be watching this by Wednesday-ish and continuing on with your annotations. You could do your reflection journal midweek or you could save it, but I wanted to give you guys a stretch of time where you can be really thinking about the genres that you're looking at from St. Vincent Sarah Fisher and doing really thoughtful analysis. Okay, so let's look at some of these genre samples. Actually, there's only 2 here. But what you'll see is that we have 2 pieces of useful writing from St. Vincent Sarah Fisher. So this one is a process response from their social work department. And so what I wanted to do here is we're going to talk through what you might do with a genre like this, but I know that many of you are using digital, more public-facing genres from St. Vincent Sarah Fisher. We talked about using social media posts or documents that are either on their website or integrated into their website. So here, this is a less public genre that St. Vincent Sarah Fisher uses. And what we're going to look at here is how you might use a document like this in your rhetorical analysis. So the first thing to notice is that even though probably the main use value is here in the document, if you were doing rhetorical analysis on this, you might start up here with some of this contextualizing information and read through some of the purpose and message that's integrated into the document right here. Then you might look at the actual form itself and look at things like, okay, what are these columns? We've got the dialogue, the gut level feelings, interpretations, additional notes. What order are these columns in and why? How are each section structured? How is each section structured? Let me use correct sentence structure there. But, like, why are there initials here? What are these words intended to convey? Stuff like this comes into play as evidence for why you might argue that a genre is effective or if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And we can know more about what it's supposed to be doing by using some of these contextual statements that are built right into the genre. So let's look at the other one really quick. The other genre that we have here is one that you guys will probably be using a lot. It's the volunteer feedback form. And Beth mentioned this a little bit when she was talking us through in orientation the kinds of feedback that is useful for the staff at St. Vincent Sarah Fisher from a tutor or someone who's working with one of their clients. So here, this would be really fascinating to really dive into in terms of both what are the sections, how are they delineated, and then within each section, what counts as good evidence? What are the kinds of statements that St. Vincent Sarah Fisher would get the most information from? What wouldn't be helpful? What do some of these terms mean? There's a lot of lexis here. There's a lot of inside vocabulary for educators, tutors, or even particular vocabulary for St. Vincent Sarah Fisher. What happens when there's no information, right? Other notes, is this an interest? Like, I'm very interested in the other notes section and whether or not there might be more space for someone to write additional notes or not. But all of this, from the layout to the organization to the subheadings to the actual content that's written here, can tell us a lot about the rhetor, the purpose, and the intended audience for this piece. And as we know from our mini lesson back in week 3, those are the three key things that you definitely need to address in a rhetorical analysis. Now, we know from our mini lesson that there are other things to address as well, but you have to at least have those 3 elements of the rhetorical triangle in place for your rhetorical analysis. Okay. So I think that does it. I'm going to pull back to the full view and close out this video. All right, I think that does it for me in week 5. If you have any questions about anything that I went over in this video, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. Of course, you can also contact Kat, your peer mentor. She is an amazing resource, so definitely take advantage of her support as well. All right, I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye, everybody.